Greetings and welcome back to Stellaris, my United Nations of Earth playthrough. So, quick update before we get into the state of the thing. I did a little bit of research on orbital rings. And it turns out they can support defense platforms. And as a matter of fact, building things like the planetary defense hangars increases their cap on defense. So for now, Earth really only could support more industrial districts if I added habitation modules. So I'm not going to build the habitation modules now. I'm just going to throw some defense hangars on here. I don't want to spend the resources on defense platforms for Earth right now because it's not really in danger. But in the end, I'll probably shift the stuff to defense platforms and use the buildings for, use the modules for habitation modules and increase the industrial districts here on Earth. But yes, I believe shifting a lot of my star bases to orbital rings will have a more beneficial effect. I can actually get rid of the star base here in Bernard Star, so that will cut down further on the need for piracy patrols. I am converging several of my fleets to Gossick to put together a mercenary enclave. My three biggest patrols, the Obtelis Sugelia, the Friaca Obtelis, and the Plessis Tremus. So these areas may become endangered for piracy. I can compensate for that by throwing up some defense platforms if they really need them. Otherwise, I do currently have idle fleets nearby that can come by and clear out any pirates that show up. But I believe the 3 defense platforms of hangars should be sufficient to stamp out pirates if they pop up. I do plan on constructing gateways as my first gateway as soon as I have 75 influence, and then my second after that. I will probably do my first actual gateway down here at Almac, because that gives me a quick way to reinforce if I get raided from down here, and it also cuts down on the need for this patrol route because piracy will go away in this section. Or actually, I could do away with piracy that way by having Trimus redirect to Almac, which then goes straight to Sol. Yeah, I'm going to be doing some shifting around of things as I can get the gateways. I went ahead and finally found out that at least 3 of us will vote in the Awoken into association status, so I am offering that. I offered a few other agreements. They'll pop up as we proceed along. As for the current state of our empire, there hasn't been much of a change here on Earth. We are getting some other new populations migrating over this way. But yes, I am continuing to run my experiment. It'll be 2 years before I see if, now that they are synthetics, they will displace these other people from technician jobs. Earth remains kind of stagnant right now. As it gets more pop, they're immediately going to shift off-world. This will not add any additional jobs. All this will do is increase my consumer goods output. Another thing is edicts. Now that I have, I'm running the recycling campaign right now. That should cut down on consumer goods a little bit. And I have the finances to handle it. But now that I have some networks started, these, as long as a colony is along the network, these will affect certain things at the cost of strategic resources. Dominance boosts stability, movement increases resettlement chance, and amenities reduces the population amenity usage. None of these are really that useful to me right now. I may get others as I research text, but that is one thing that I never really looked into after getting the hyper relays. Like I said, a lot of the stuff from the Fornax update was kind of new to me. Orbital rings being one, the hyper relays being another. And mercenary enclaves I played around with once, I think, in a game I was attempting before I started this one. Now, as for that, Storm also no longer has room for expansion after it upgrades its final fortress. That will be the last few jobs I can add here for now. Oops. It is also kind of running the experiment, and it will be the first to complete the experiment. In 4 months, I will see if a new miner will displace this Kithri, because he is less effective than my miners. Another thing I forgot is my robots have gotten a lot more effective now that they are synthetics. They get an additional 10% to output. So these miners are effectively getting 25% bonus to minerals just now. If I can refit them to have the efficient processors, they'll actually get a 30% bonus. I don't believe... It's kind of hard. Like I said, the information on here kind of sucks. It's not organized very well, and the Empire bonuses have kind of been overshadowed by other forms of Empire bonus. I know I get a 5% from a tradition, but I actually had it wrong. It wasn't 60% I was previously getting from technology, because the first level of where is it? Engineering. The very first level that you start with of the mining thing only unlocks the mining district. So you're only getting 20% when you get to level 2, and then 40% when you get to level 3, which is all I originally had when I thought I had 60. I had forgotten that the initial ones are just the ones that give you the prerequisite to have access to the districts. Euxina is also one of my stagnant ones. It does have room for a little bit of expansion for jobs, but they're all going to be clerks at this point. Until I get an orbital ring about it. Speaking of which, the first orbital ring I plan on building is around Storm, so I can get rid of the Breglar Station, or Barnard Star Station. Nueva Cadiz is upgrading its final megaplex. This will be its last bit of expansion as well. Al Madain also is kind of stagnant. It does have the Matriarch's Flagella that gives organic pop assembly. So I might consider actually researching the cloning vats, and instead of building robots here, building organic pops. Because in the assembly, you have the option of either doing robots. Actually, it looks like I already can do organic pops, but I'll only be getting one assembly a month. If I get the cloning vats, I can have somebody who can actually boost that assembly further, because these guys will take a while. They'll be even slower than the robots to churn out at this point, but I do have one organic pop assembly, so I can choose to assemble organic pops here instead of robots if I decide there is something I want to assemble here. But right now, robots will still churn out faster here, because I'm getting 2 assembly and then a bonus for them being mass produced. I'm still waiting on Blizzard to grow a little bit population-wise before I finally upgrade the final research complex. It does need a few more miners. Avalon is also at the extent of its growth until I get a surplus of influence and can start going back and doing Masteries of Nature. And again, this one I may not consider Mastery of Nature, because all that would do would unlock either additional industrial districts or additional city districts, neither of which have a lot of value to me. The city districts adding housing, you see I already have far more housing than I have available jobs. It would add some clerks. The industrial districts, I don't have the building slots to really boost them, so there's not really much point in that. This one I may not do Mastery of Nature, and if I do orbital rings, there's no point in adding extra district slots through the orbital ring. But it is waiting to grow, and I'm still replacing entertainers here. I could be producing technicians, but energy credits hasn't been a problem for me. It's minerals I need to focus on. Ultinia, likewise, is still growing. Now this one I could do Mastery of Nature on or use orbital rings to boost districts. If I did a Mastery of Nature, I could get the 2 agricultural districts. If I had all 4 module slots dedicated to adding extra slots, I could also add mining districts to this world. And it does have an open building slot I could use for a mineral processing plant. Now we're getting to my worlds that do still have room for expansion. However, I'm mainly waiting on populations to grow before I bother adding more jobs at this point. New Jamestown is still focusing mainly on the research. It is my engineering research world. Nozomi is finally upgrading to a system capital complex. That will unlock its final building slot, and I will be able to put a chemical plant here. Other than that, this one, since it is going to have pretty heavy industry on it, this one is one that Mastery of Nature and an orbital ring with more districts would be very useful on once I get my minerals under control. I am actually building an industrial district here to help with consumer goods, even though that will drain minerals a bit on Shangri-La. Shangri-La still has significant room for expansion. Xinjiang is also getting an industrial district. It is getting started on its industry for the same reason. I figure I can stand a little bit of mineral loss on some of these smaller colonies right now with just to get a little bit extra alloys and consumer goods. After I finish this industrial district, I will probably add mining districts on this world for a bit before I go back to more industrial. This is one of my research worlds. It is actually upgrading a research complex right now. And it should be done in about 8 months. So this one is still adding jobs that consume that because I am adding a few jobs that add more. I'm getting some holo theaters here because amenities are starting to get low on Nueva Sonora. Nueva Sonora is pretty much done with its development for now. Akatsuki is still got some city districts it can churn out. It definitely could use Mastery of Nature and orbital rings to make its industry base a little bit more valuable. Wenzhou, still waiting on population on this one. It's pretty close to, about 10 months, but the buildings I plan on building churn out pretty quickly. 4 months for this, so I can wait until July to start building another mining district here. As for having upgraded New Coventry and my other habitat, since they are refinery stations, all that really does is give me additional leisure or trade districts or habitation, which isn't really necessary, as you see. Now, habitats have limited building slots, but if you are doing a dedicated habitat that is either research or mining or generator, it is a good to, if you don't have a lot of need for the building slots, it isn't a bad idea to actually add the housing to this, like the luxury residences and the upgrades, to be your additional housing, and add a little bit of amenities to support your other buildings, so that way you can actually, instead of having to use a habitation district, be able to do an additional generator, mining, or research district instead. Same goes if you are doing industry, since you only really need 3 buildings to support your industry. Rather than using like leisure districts, you could have holo theaters and then have an upgraded residence to do the additional housing you need to support the people down here. But right now it's pretty much waiting for population to grow before I worry about additional buildings here. Yeah, it's got a while before it gets down below 6. Same for St. Pomeroy. There is no way for me to get additional building slots because this is the final capital upgrade. There's only one capital upgrade for habitats unless I get Voidborn as an Ascension perk. And honestly, with only having 2 habitats and the way this playthrough has been going, I don't feel that fits the theme of my expansion. I think going for Galactic Contender is a better idea for that, as well as the Xeno compatibility I plan on getting. So I think those are going to be my last 2 Ascension perks anyway. So I will be adding another refinery so I can specialize these as either exotic gas, chemical plants, or synthetic crystal. I will believe I will be able to sufficiently protect my refineries that it will be unlikely I will have my economy crippled by one of them getting attacked. Right now, the only real threats to me would be the Prime Awareness, which would be coming from this direction. If it came through the Hazar, it would be coming from that direction. This is kind of protected by the Fire Tribes of Kel. The other threats to me would be the Fallen Empires, which also would not come from this direction. And if the Great Khan forms, then I might have an issue with the Lavas Freebooters, but I am hoping to have them exterminated before that can happen. Now for San Lucas, I could add another research segment right now, because it does need the jobs. It's only going to take 6 months to churn out, so I'm going to wait at least till April before I make that decision. I do want to get a little bit more consumer goods in play before I add yet more jobs that are going to do it. But ring worlds are another possibility to use things like the Sky Dome on. Because if I want to go all research segments, I don't want to have to waste a segment on a city segment, even though it does an outrageous amount of housing. And since I'm going to be getting a lot of researcher jobs by going 10 research segments, that would be 100 researcher jobs. I don't really need to waste my time spamming the research buildings down here, because upgrading them is less efficient than the cost for this. This provides 10 jobs for 2 exotic gases, whereas the upgraded research buildings are only 6 jobs for 2 exotic gases. And 100 researchers is more than sufficient for this. So rather than dedicating a city segment, I'm probably going to end up putting the domes on here, the upgraded luxury residences. I'll do the luxury residence and then upgrade it. And I probably only need at most 2 slots dedicated to that to have sufficient housing to handle the people down here. This will be at most 4 jobs. This will be 6, so that's 10 jobs. Just 2 luxury residences should just about cover that. This is 3.5. I believe the next upgrade is 6.10. So yeah, when these 2 are fully upgraded, that would be 12 additional housing slots. And right now I'm only 1 behind. Of course, that's with all of these jobs considered. With the open available jobs, I'm only 1 behind, and upgrading this is going to add more housing than it adds jobs. So I think only 2 of those, or I could throw the Sky Dome on here. And then I would only need 1 slot dedicated to that building. But I think the Sky Dome is more effective on a habitat than on the ring worlds, because the ring worlds do have plenty of building slots. And if you don't need to waste a building slot on housing, using 1 city segment usually gives you more than sufficient. But the ones you want to dedicate to either research or industry, if you want to support any of the buildings down here, you will need a couple of residence buildings. But San Lucas is still waiting a little bit before I add anything to it, but I probably will end up adding another research segment here. I've got quite a while before I have to worry about Nukera and adding anything to it, so hopefully I will have more exotic gases by then. Mars is upgrading its planetary administration still. Then it will go back to getting generator districts for now, and possibly some housing districts just to give me more building options. Baffin is still... now, I did find out, I think they have removed the problem where you couldn't have upgraded the capital. I'm still going to hold off on it. Now, there's a lot of things I do, like changing my mind about researching certain techs or holding off on reinforcing fleets and stuff like that, all because of game mechanics that kind of draws away from the RP bit. Like, I should have been doing something on this world until I got the Resort World technology. But because it's such a pain in the butt to get the thing back down to the level where I could make use of the Resort World decision, I kind of wish you could do the decision at any point and then kind of reverse your stuff after you've done the decision. But so be it. So this one is kind of holding off until, still going to hold off. It's not going to get its population up to the point where I'd have to upgrade that with no jobs to do. Now, I could put buildings on here and then scrap them when I get the technology, but it's kind of a waste of resources because it's not going to be adding enough benefit back to make up for the cost I put into it. And we're no longer that wasteful. I got rid of that trait for most of my humans. St. Yegorov is upgrading its planetary administration finally. It is going to be my industrial, and I do want to get a lot more mining to support it, because every one of these districts is going to drain it by another 50. And that's going to be increased as the administrations go up, because it improves the upkeep for these jobs. And of course, spring, I may end up mixing a little bit of agriculture in with the commercial segments. There's not really much point to really spamming the commercial segments, I don't think, as nothing but commercial. And again, this one would be one I wouldn't mind throwing in a city segment. It's just going to add more clerks, which are part of the commercial anyway. But I may throw a couple of agricultural districts on here if I start running into problems with food. The main issue where food might become an issue is as my population really starts growing and people start needing food. But for now, it's been stable. I haven't really had issues with the subsidies I've been having to give to my subjects. I do have a chemical plant on the way here. It's kind of a temporary hold, just to get me more chemical plants for now until I can get more habitats. I mean, I'm not really doing anything else with the building segments for now, though I don't know what I would replace the buildings down here with, if I'm planning on focusing this on a commercial segment. I could do the actual hydroponic farms for buildings down here. I hadn't even considered that until just now, basically. Now, as I have gone through all of my other things, the holdings, I did do one change. I decided to change this satellite campus over to a Ministry of Extraction, because this is a forge world, and they have a lot of catalytic technicians. And the Ministry of Extraction will give me alloys based on the number of technicians, I believe. Let's see, the catalytic technicians will each provide me 2 alloys. And this place has 26 catalytic technicians right now, so that's 50 alloys I would be getting from Padma. I've decided I really don't need to spam a lot of campuses. I will only put the campuses on worlds that kind of fit. Now, this one is a kind of research world. It has strong magnetic field, and they actually have science directors in place of their leaders, their politicians. So they actually do generate some research on all of their worlds because of that. So I don't mind this one satellite campus here, and of course the satellite campus on the Capitol. Though if they get another building, the problem is they haven't really invested in mining enough. This world would be an awesome mining world, and what did they do? They made it agriculture. I mean, just look at all of the minerals they could have been spamming from this world. Likewise, they have another, I think it's a habitat. Yes, right here. This habitat has the potential to be a mining colony. They've made it a trade, labeled it as a trade station, though they haven't actually built any trade districts. I can put holdings on habitats. So I might consider putting, because this will be 9 miners in the end, more if he adds a mineral processing plant. I might consider shutting down that one campus to add a holding here to give me minerals, unless he gets another world. Now, as for the Pirac, I think I am just going to keep the satellite campuses here, because they are a science facility, or a scholarium. Now, I did consider a way to get the Garanshu into the Federation would be to make them a vassal of mine, to propose their subjugation, because then they would be brought in. That may create problems with the Fire Tribes of Kel, considering their relations, and there is the risk the Fire Tribes of Kel may just say fuck it and leave the Federation. So that's something I'm not going to rush for. Plus, since the Garanshu is an overlord themselves, they are very loath to accept becoming someone else's subject. I do want one more vassal, though, so that I can get a prospectorium. I considered the Awoken, but I don't know if they would be valuable enough as a prospectorium. But yes, I would like one more vassal just to have the trifecta, because there is an achievement for having all 3, which I have yet to get, since I haven't really played much since they added in the new vassalage system. I do need to get onto doing some espionage with the Prime Awareness, but right now I am saving up to at least get one gateway set up. Now that I am earning more influence, hopefully I can start getting the things that require influence fired off a little faster, and start having the surplus to do espionage. But I believe that's it, so we can now proceed forward. Yeah, I've already renewed that. A non-aggression pact between the League of Brian States and the Tillanesti. Commonwealth of Man agreed to a commercial pact. And we're still about 100 months away. Alright, so this Federation Association offer has passed. Despite the Fire Tribes of Kel and their subject voting against it, we had enough support with my vassals to get the Awoken offered Federation Association status. And they accepted. Now I have started reinforcing my final fleet that was not fully reinforced. I believe that was 2nd Fleet, which is here. Yes, and it has its full reinforcements on the way. Once it is fully reinforced, that's going to take 8 months, I believe. Well, no, it's going to be a little faster here. Let's see where the bulwark is. 1 year. So it's going to be a little over a year from now. It will have its final ship turned out. I'm going to take all 4 of these fleets, and I am going to start on clearing out the Marauders over here. Hopefully by then I will have Kazoo upgraded a little more. It is. Now, it will be over a year, but it's going to take some travel time to get them over here. But I do plan on having Kazoo upgrade a little more, and I will probably, for now, rather than adding more defenses, I think what I'm going to add here will be shipyards, so that I have the ability to repair the ships. After I take, say, this first sector, I can pull back and repair. And if I am able to take this one, I can come in and survey it and claim it, and that will also give me access to this system. Then if I take this one, I will get access to here and be able to churn out another colony ship. And actually, I could... Let's see, this doesn't have any rare planetary features. I could just go ahead and say screw it, and start developing Proxima Centauri B and turn this into the resort world when I get it. But you can only have one resort world. And I think because of Proxima Centauri B's tidally locked modifier that reduces the max districts by 30%, that it is a better choice as a resort world, since there's not really too awfully much you can do with the districts on a resort world. Tezekian Hive is no longer in a non-aggression pact with the Tillinesti Hive. I believe they're still at war with the, the Urzo is like running rampant over the, the Urzo and the Tezekians have just about gotten every system. They've only got a few systems left for the Alvathari. And they are exhausted, so they are going to sue for peace pretty soon. Let's see, what is this war considered? It just says Tezekian Alvathari War. It doesn't tell me what type of war it is. I mean, is this a war for territory? I mean, it is a hive, so the hives do tend to have total war when they go to war. So there is a chance that the Alvathari is just about to be wiped out. Well, I was able to recruit a statecraft scientist. I could actually, well, this is biology. It'll be done in a month anyway. And I do want to kind of keep Professor Zarg here. So let us... Well, there's a higher chance of getting it with a statecraft in there. There's a penalty for having a non-statecraft, non-curator in there. So I would have a higher chance of getting Resort World with actually a statecraft person in there. So I guess we would just stick Professor Zarg over in this ship for now, assisting research on Nueva Sonora. Now let me look around. Do any of my people assisting research have... Well, I can see the numbers here. The Noble, that one's on Earth, so that one isn't really assisting much in the way of research. The Aldrin is at Blizzard. And the Trade Wind is at Cyber... Yeah, let's swap out this guy for Professor Zarg. And we will actually put this lower level guy assisting research on a planet that doesn't really matter at this point. But I decided not to start the gateway construction just yet because it takes 2,500 alloys. And I would rather get up to the 10,000 where I could go ahead and start on upgrading this. so that I'm getting some value out of the Sentry site. I'm still got about another 2.5 years, or 5 years almost. Is it 2.5 or 5? Let's check that again. Yeah, 2.5 years before that is completed. So yeah, I'm going to hold off on that for now, building the, starting the construction of the gateway. I really need to get both gateways started simultaneously, I think, for them to have any real value. Otherwise, they're just costing me maintenance. But I would like to get the Sentry array online before I do that, so I want to save up the alloys. I could actually see about buying some alloys. Yeah, I could only buy about 1,000. I'll let the price keep dropping some for a while. I haven't actually played the slots in a bit. Oh, I could get another reliquary. Reliquary does not contain anything. Where one would expect hollow space for storage, sits instead a smooth block of metal alloy, one interior wall of the reliquary blending seamlessly into another. Well, that worked out. Yes, that did. I think that reliquary did me quite nicely. I'm glad I decided to do that. We can go ahead and start upgrading the Sentry Hub. I still have another 10K, so I can go ahead and start on this gateway site. Now the gateway site, I believe, still needs to be upgraded before it's actually a full-blown gateway. And I think I'm going to go ahead and get this constructor in position to put a gateway down here. I want it over here. No. I want it here. That way I can quickly come and protect my habitats. Akatsuki will have an orbital ring to protect it, but the habitats I might need a fleet to support. And as soon as I get 50 more influence, so in about a year, I should be able to get started on that gateway site.
Research concluded.
Advanced food processing. New cryopreservation and protein resequencing methods will make food processing much more efficient. Still do not have resort worlds, despite having a statecraft person in here. Now there's only one statecraft. It will only take 8 months to knock out, and it reduces the upkeep of leaders. It's not that outrageous right now. We're only spending 48 a month on leaders. It will also boost the leader level cap, which is useful. I think I might actually, since I am earning almost 2,000 a month, let's go to edicts. Let's actually kick in education campaign. That's less than 10% of my monthly minerals to actually boost how quickly my leaders gain experience. Now I didn't get to do the experiment with the population here because when I built the military or upgraded to a fortress, it pulled the guy out of there anyway. So this guy is going into an empty mining slot. And the third caravan fleet is the Numistic Order, I believe is the name of it. They are ones who kind of worship commerce and give you like temples. But I have yet... What the hell? Where are you going? That's obviously a reinforcement for a mercenary fleet. The Palisade Armada fleet. I have no idea where they're headed. Obviously, somebody hired some mercenaries that include a Pirac. My alloys are about up where they should be. About 500 to 1,000 a month. We are now connected to the Urzo organism. The attackers aren't really that tired from that war compared to the defenders. My fleets are about a month away from converging here in Gossick. I believe that is the final fleet to get here. I can go ahead and merge these two. Let's see, which leader do I want to get rid of? Let's get rid of the one with the long lifespan. And this guy will also be, I'll be removing the leader from it when I get ready to make the mercenary company. But yeah, there was another thing I misspoke about mercenary companies. It's not uninhabited planets. It's uninhabited or unoccupied moons or asteroids. So it won't displace where you have a mining or research station. But this asteroid has nothing of value, so this would be perfect for a mercenary company. And those are not slots you can put habitats on. You cannot put a habitat around a moon or an asteroid, so the mercenary companies do not occupy habitat slots. But yeah, it should be about a month before that other fleet gets here. I can pull the leader out of it, and let's actually put the leaders in some other fleets. Fourth fleet is full. So let's put him in fourth fleet and go ahead and start moving our fleets this direction, because it will take a little bit of time, about 2 years, to get him over here. This fleet, I'll go ahead and pull Zazzle out and move him over to Kazoo. It's going to take him a real long time to get here. I should have had him packing, about 2 years, had him packing this way earlier. Oh, no, it's not going to take him quite as long because he's going to shortcut through Kel space. Interesting. This is the fleet that is waiting on one more ship. Blorg's Bane should be done with it in about 8 months. Almost, well, 9 months. 2 days short of 9 months. I can go ahead and move First Fleet this way as well. Yeah, my fleets are actually a lot more powerful than I thought now. First Fleet is almost 20k by itself. So I might be able to do it with just 3 of my fleets, but I would like to take all 4 to ensure success. And I will need a constructor, and the constructor won't need to be immediate, but the science vessel will, so that I can, what is the word, survey debris. So let's actually just move him over here as well. It'll take him about a year to get there. Oh, I've also got the Ahab over here for more support. Yeah. But we're going to get... I could actually just pull him off of assisting research to do it, but if we do get any anomalies, I'd have to change out who the... Yeah, let's actually just do that. Let's leave this one here at Earth. Assisting research on Earth, even though that's kind of pointless, it still earns him experience. And we can just have all of them converge there, and we can just borrow this guy for now. I do need a constructor over this way. I'm not going to be building a habitat anytime soon. So let us pull that constructor. How close are you to being done? No, you won't be done and done. We'll just pull this constructor over here as well. Now, it's been a while since I've actually taken on Marauders, so I can't remember if I have to survey and claim the system or if defeating them automatically gives me control. They don't technically have a starbase in the system. I can't remember if I automatically get the territory. Achievement unlocked, Grand Admiral. Yeah, I am missing a lot of achievements. Have an Empire total fleet power of 100,000. Okay, I'm missing a lot of achievements because I did not play on Iron Man. Does that mean that doesn't... How did I get 1,000 just now? I didn't churn out an additional ship. Oh, it must be from moving the admirals over that boosted the fleet power of the larger fleets. That's what it was.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Alright, let's merge these fleets. Predictive consumerism. Using advanced AIs, we can reliably predict consumer demand before it exists. The Dyson sphere, the matter decompressor, that would take about 2.5 years. Do I actually want to start working on something else? I could get the tachyon sensors fairly quick. The particle lances would allow me to start designing battleships with the spinal mounts. And none of these, the neutron launchers or the particle lances, will affect my current ship designs. But yeah, since he is a computing specialist, let's see about tachyon sensors. It is already discovered by both Garanshu and my alliance, or federation. That will force me to have to upgrade ships, but that's something I'm not too worried about right now. 8 months I will have Second Fleet's final reinforcement before that comes out. Yeah, it'll be about 8 months for it. Alright, these fleets are now fully converged, so we can convert into a mercenary enclave. Now this is going to drop my fleet power. That's fine. We are debating whether or not to help set up the Friaka Obtelis Patrol as an independent mercenary enclave. The proposal first put forward by the fleet commanders would result in us losing control of the fleet. We would also be responsible for providing them with a sizable investment in energy credits and alloys. In return, they would give us a number of shares in the company. These would come with periodic dividends and special privileges. They assure us that in times of need, they will always be ready to fight for us and our money. We need 100 influence to pull it off. So I'm going to have to bank some more influence. But for now, I guess I can put them back on patrol, because it is going to take quite a while to get influence. So let's have this fleet patrol from where it is to, yeah, let's just go all the way to Banus again. Now that does mean I'll get some piracy build-up here and here. They have stations. I will get some piracy build-up here and here for now. But yeah, my next influence investment is going to be the gateway here in Almac. And then I will be able to invest in this mercenary fleet. But now I have it to the proper size. that I can do it. But yeah, I needed influence I don't have. Now I do have 94% naval coverage. I have almost gotten my Navy size up to full power projection. Losing this 50 size Navy is going to hurt pretty bad. But I've almost gotten my naval coverage all the way up. Transchurch from Polysimus Mandate have arrived on Nueva Sonora. They came from the abyssal anchorage. Nueva Sonora is here, actually, isn't it? No. Nueva Sonora. Nueva Sonora. That was one of my later colonies, I believe. There it is. I don't see the grateful refugees anywhere. There they is. One Church. He has 100% habitability here. Alright, so they lost several systems and they became a subject. Oh, the Alvasor Star Assembly. They were the attackers? I thought it was the other way around. Polysimus Mandate becomes a subject under Tezekian Hive. No. It was the Tezekian Hive that was the attackers. I don't know why they're not listed on this side. Yeah, they took out a chunk up through here of the Alvathor Star Assembly and cut them in half. And now they have the Polysimus Mandate as their protectorate. Oh yeah, there's that psionic entity to deal with as well. Over a Gaia world. So yes, that kind of butchered the Alvathari Star Assembly a little bit. Yeah, they're now considered pathetic. Tezekian Hive has declared the Zufan Ancients their rival? Are you serious? They're still overwhelming to me.
Construction completed.
Sol Star Earth Station has finally fully upgraded. I do not understand why they're using the medium cutting lasers over the X-ray lasers. They are not as good. Kind of makes me regret having researched that technology, since it tends to put it on my star bases and give them crappy loadouts. Uko Praknar has a treaty with the Polysim Mandate. Polysimus. One thing I've been neglecting is updating my robot models now that I have an extra trait point. I need an extra trait pick to be able to actually get mass produced again that speeds up their assembly speed. But instead of high bandwidth, which improves my empire size from pops, now that I have a lot of robots, at least the technicians, the harvesters, and the miners, and I'm going to have a lot of workers fairly soon. Luxurious is better at this point. What it does is just increase by 20% how many alloys it takes to for robotic assembler workers at the robotic assembly plant each month. So instead of taking 2, it'll take 2.2, which is something I can handle now. It will dwindle into my alloys a bit, but even if I had a robotic assembly plant on every colony I had, at most it ended up adding, like, say, dropping that by 40 alloys a month. But this will enable them to have efficient processors and logic engines, so these guys will have 15 to every research. These are going to be my synthetic researchers. And I could actually upgrade my others. Right now they have mass-produced and high bandwidth. If I remove those, I could give them luxurious as well, and be able to get efficient processors if I got rid of durable. And all durable did was reduce their upkeep, which is energy credits, which I'm not really having a problem with. So now these guys will get 20% resources from jobs. And let's upgrade their number, because these are now the second model I have created of that type. And I need to also upgrade the miners and the technicians. The technicians are the ones that I actually have the most of. So we're going to get rid of durable, mass-produced, and high bandwidth, pick up luxurious and efficient processors. Now for the technicians, mass-produced, durable, high bandwidth, we need luxurious and efficient processors. And these also become the second type of model of that type. Now these guys already have efficient processors, but they have an extra trait point now, so let me give them luxurious so I can get rid of high bandwidth. I could actually give them durable, or I could give them, let's see, bulky, so they take a little bit more housing usage. I have plenty of housing. So yeah, I can keep these guys about like this. These are the guys who will work alloy production or other such jobs, the refinery jobs. Yeah, sure, they take up a little extra housing. I'm not going to have that many of them, honestly. And I do need to upgrade the number. Now let's go to apply some templates. We have a lot of the technicians. Let me make sure I'm not producing any technicians right now. Well, this will knock this back. Right now it's 15 months if I go to producing the second grade. It knocked 6 months off of that. And this guy was basically I was just doing him as a test. I want to make sure I'm not producing any of the technicians, and go ahead and I don't think I upgraded them. I should have. Let's go back to the species. Go down to our synthetic people. That's the only one I didn't upgrade, because I would like to replace high bandwidth. Let's get rid of propaganda machines. We only need a 1-pointer to get propaganda machines back. We'll make them high maintenance. So they're mass-produced propaganda machines. Let's see, if I got rid of mass-produced, upgraded that to a 2-pointer, I still wouldn't have enough to add efficient processors to them. Which is what they will eventually want. And I don't have enough trait picks to make picking luxurious worth it for them. Yeah, I need more trait points for modifications here. But now we have them. Getting rid of the high bandwidth is the major import, so that I can cut down on my empire size a little bit. Now back to where we were. All right, we're changing them. Let's go ahead and change this to the Mark IIs, if I can locate them. I know I made the SP-02s, didn't I? Didn't I save that, or did I cancel it? Let's see. Looks like I canceled it. Now let's switch off of here and back onto species and see if it is updated with the SP-02s. It has. Alright, back to changing what I'm building at each of these. I want to phase out the first models. A lot of these are going to be fairly easy to replace because they have just produced. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to keep with the SP-02s. I was just about to get my last miner here, but time to upgrade him. At least it's keeping down into the area where I can quickly select the new model. Upgraded harvesters. Upgraded workers. Alright, now, these places, I can put my new researchers. They're the first of their model. These will be the synthetic workers. And this will remain the synthetic politicians, performers, whatever you want to use the P for, I guess. Alright, now that I've done that and made sure that none of the old ones are being produced, we're going to go to species. First, let's check our technology. We're 1 month away from an L-gate insight. I don't mind putting an L-gate insight on hold. First thing we want to do is go to the one that we have the highest population of, which is the technicians, I believe, and upgrade them. $41,000 for 105 pops.
Situation log has been updated.
It would take a year to do that. Yeah, that's going to take a while. Of course, I am doing a lot of changes. I'm pulling off multiple traits and adding others. Yeah, if I did went to apply a template to one that has a smaller pop, you will see it is still an outrageous price, like this one. I can't apply it while I've got that one, but I'm going to let that one time out for now, because I don't want to set aside that long when in one day I am going to get that one research done. So yeah, we're going to hold off on that because it's going to take so long. We need a lot more engineering research to pull that off. So next month I will be able to show you that the cost is going to be pretty high for this change to the workers. Actually, the workers aren't getting changed that much, but these guys were. I was pulling off 2 traits or 3 traits and adding 2. So that's the reason it is so expensive for them. because I'm adding efficient processors and luxurious and pulling out durable, mass-produced, and high bandwidth. So that's basically a 5-trait change. And again, the cost is mainly front-loaded, but there is a cost per one you do. But yeah, all of these are going to take a fairly long time to do such a major change to them. This one will take the least. Yeah, if I do this one, it shouldn't take too awfully long because there's only 32 pops, and I'm just basically swapping high bandwidth for upkeep. And that's basically going to add 0.1 energy credit upkeep for each one. So that's only going to up my upkeep by about 3 energy credits. But yeah, I really wanted to do them to drop the empire size from pops down by about 10%, because that is at least a 10 value to empire size that will be dropped. But yeah, that's going to be expensive since I'm basically doing a major overhaul on that unit. So we'll let that expire.
Research concluded.
L-Gate Insight 3. Intensive study within the fields of nanomachinery and subspace phenomenon will eventually yield a new L-Gate insight into the disabled L-Gate mystery. Oh, we could further reduce our starbase upgrade cost and increase the speed. Since that does affect the influence cost for orbital rings, this is a good investment. Yeah, I think that is our best investment right now. It'll take 9 months. So we are 1 L-Gate insight away from being able to unlock the L-Gates. Alright, modify species project failed. Fine. Let's go back to species. Let's see what it would cost to modify or to apply the template of the O2s. Not modify, stop that. Apply. I just want to modify the... Actually, I could have done this with any template, really. But yeah, we're going to modify the workers. That would cost less than 3,000 to modify them, because all I'm doing is changing one thing. Now, the other one I wanted to look at modifying was the 30 amount. If I apply that to all of my synthetic people, it's about 6,000. That one will be fairly quick to knock out, despite the fact that I am changing quite a few traits. No, all I did was change the... all I did was change one trait on this, so it's only 6,000. Now, another way to show this, that one was only 6,000 to change one trait on it. Let's say I wanted to apply this template to those same 32. 18,000. So you see the cost is so much higher because of all of the changes to the traits more than the numbers. That's the reason it is so expensive to swap these out, because of the huge change I'm doing. Again, like I said, the cost is still fairly front-loaded, because it was 18,000 to do 32, where if I apply this template to all the others, the technicians, yeah, it's like 3 times the pop. It does kind of become 3 times the cost, but not quite, because that would be 60,000 if it was triple the cost. So yeah, it's only adding another 23,000 to the cost for adding 60 more robots to it. The huge portion of the cost is mainly the traits you change, and it is all kind of front-loaded. I remember when I created my own mod, I actually saw their breakdown of numbers. They may have changed since I did the mod, but I know the initial cost was listed as like 3,000, and then it was like 10 and 20 was the modifiers based on the number of traits and number of pops. But yeah, let's go ahead and apply this one to the other synthetic people.
Situation log has been updated.
3 months to knock that one out. I can delay this other one for 3 months to go ahead and upgrade all of them. To drop my empire size just a tad. I could probably go ahead and do the synthetic workers as well. The harvesters will be a little bit more expensive. So yeah, I need to get some other things taken care of before I really can do those. I need getting some stored engineering research would be great. It would double my output. That would cut the times in half.
Construction completed.
Alright, Guthrie Maelstrom has upgraded. Not sure what I want to do with Guthrie Maelstrom. I mean, I've got hangar bays right now to kind of take care of piracy while my patrols are kind of cutting out a little bit. I do know Guthrie Maelstrom is eventually going to be a have the matter decompressor in it. Yeah, I'm not sure what I want to put here, building-wise. I think those 2 hangar bays are sufficient for right now. I will probably shift some anchorages over here, since I am going to be getting rid of anchorages at Lake Bernard Star. I should probably get this one ready to be an anchorage site. Senate is about to enter. I need to make sure, yes, the Charter of Worker Rights. Oh! I could actually get the Tianki Conservation Act up to the top, but I'm not that worried about it right now. Yeah, I do want... It doesn't matter which of these 2 gets up there, but I need to keep an eye on it as we get like 1 day away and see if I need to shift what I'm supporting.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
The collective self. Finding aspects of the self within the group is natural and inevitable. Eventually, those shared aspects must be valued higher than individual identities. There we go. Create Resort Worlds finally showed up. 6 months and we can get this Resort World fired off. And then I can worry about different society research from this point on. Second Fleet is still waiting on its battleship. It's going to be 4 months. Yeah, it'll be right before I get tachyon sensors, actually.
Construction completed.
Alright, another upgrade is probably finished. Oh, this one is going to be a military base. I've got the listening post. Let's put... Let me look at the system first. No system modifiers. Alright, we are going to put... a comm jammer in here to slow enemies down. Yeah, it looks like the Charter of Workers' Rights is going to be the one selected. Senate is hereby in session with the Charter of Workers' Rights from the League of Themisto. I haven't seen if anybody else has popped up any others. Oh yeah, the minor research sanctions. So let's go ahead and support that. This actually helps me more than most people. I'll go ahead and let it be next. Now the only ones I'm abstaining from is regulated growth and administrative insight. Of course, the ones I'm opposed to are the ones I don't want passed. I've almost got double the diplomatic weight of the prime awareness. My fleet power is getting closer to theirs. They got less than double of my fleet power. Yeah, they've got 4133 as their base. Mine is 2560. Urzo still has double mine. But most of these others, Tazekians are close to double mine. The only thing people can be in breach of right now is the Military Readiness Act. And we have a favor from the League of Brian States. I haven't actually checked to see... Nope, everybody's still voting no. I wonder if their opinion has changed of the Tazekian Hive. Nope, it's still yes for most of them. My acceptance hasn't gone up enough that I could push it past. Or has it? Yeah, we can only get 4 points from favorable trade deal, which would push them up to 53. 10 favors would push them to -3. So yeah, we still do need a little bit more from strength and all of that. Well, next month I should be able to start on that other gateway.
The special project has concluded.
Alright, we completed modifying that species. I thought of another way to demonstrate what I meant about how front-loaded it is. Something I should have thought of before. Let's go to the harvesters and apply the template. And let's find an area where there are very few harvesters. Alright, so there are 4 here. If I do the 4, it's 3,020. If I do 6, it is only added about 300 per pop. So, yeah, 3,020 and 3,780 is a difference of 760. So that was 2 pops, so that means that each pop is 380. Which means on this one that is 4 pops, let's see, 4 times 380 would be 1444, which means the base upfront cost for this is 16,000. And then it's about another 300 per pop. So as you see, it's pretty heavy on the front load. Yeah, when you get a large amount, the number, that extra 300 really starts to add up. Yeah, doing 6 is about 4,000. We're doing 17 is about 8,000. And this is more than double that number of pops. So rather than doing small amounts, you're better off doing the entire group, because it ends up being cheaper in the long run, even if it does take a long while. Because the majority of the cost is the upfront modification cost. But I'm not going to do any more modifications right now. I want to go ahead and get the Corps of Engineers researched. And then as we get more science output, specifically engineering, If I get my engineering, since that one was about 18,000, if I get my engineering up to about 3,000 a month, it will knock out that in about 6 months. But yeah, when we get our influence next month, I'm pretty sure it's going to bump us up to 75. I think we've got at least a 0.4 extra stored. And we can get started on this last gateway. Hithians and Verzak are rivals. Yes, see, it did bump me up to 75. So that meant I had enough fractional left over. So we can get started on this other gateway. Or gateway site. I think you still have to upgrade it past that. So we'll put it there. Connected capitals to the Commonwealth of Man, the Ivzorak, and the Tilinesti. That means the connection this way has finally extended further. Now I can start using my influence for, or saving up another 100 to get my mercenary company, and then start using it to finish my hyper relays. 2 more months and we will have that final battleship rolled out. And then we've just got the travel time from Panel to Kazoo. Got a favor with the Tezekian Hive. Alright, we just got our final battleship here. So we will have them start headed to Kazoo. It's going to take 2 years. And then we will be ready to start our offensive against the Uthabulan Braves. And we got a favor with the Alvathari. Though the Alvathari has been decimated.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Tachyon sensors. Advanced sensors that rely on rotating tachyon beams to detect ship movements, even at extreme distances. Dark matter drawing. Is there any dark matter? I don't believe I have dark matter. That's generally around black holes. I do have living metal. Oh my god, I missed that entirely. I need to get the living metal technology soon. But yeah, there's an easier way to do this. Hold down the Alt key while you look through your system. You can see anything you haven't claimed. So I did have living metal. I do have Zro. I still haven't claimed that trade value there. It does not look like I have access to additional dark matter. I am getting dark matter through, what is the word? The portal on one of my colonies. So yeah, no dark matter, but I did have living metal, and I didn't realize it. Let's see, Earth. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 7 would only get to Kazoo. I could, when this upgrades for one of the buildings, I could put a hyperlane registrar on here. That would allow me to claim or to start collecting the trade value from Lawam, but I can wait on that until I get a gateway here. So I do have dark, I don't have dark matter, but I do have living metal. Well, synchronized defenses, I'm not really going to make use of the defense grid supercomputer, I don't think, too awfully much. So I'm probably going to end up swapping this scientist out. I don't really need the energy credits right now. Getting a matter decompressor, I think, is the better choice. So let us get Professor Zarg back in here. And place Windlet in the trade wind. Well, since it's going to be a while before I actually get the 100 influence, let's go ahead and upgrade their sensors. Verzak has declared war on the Garanshu. Wonder what sort of war it is. Territorial invasion. So it's a war for territory. It'll be fighting
Construction completed.
either there or there. And I forgot to queue up an additional anchorage here.
Research concluded.
Resort worlds. With careful study devoted to landscaping, climate control, and the science of fun, construction of entire worlds dedicated to leisure can be made possible. Alright, what do we have now? Let's go ahead and get the ship fire rate bonus from the command matrix. We may not end up using the command center too awfully much. And we can get Tetrana back in on research. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and make the decision on on Bothan to create a resort world. Disables construction of districts and most buildings on the planet, increases amenities on all other owned planets. Yeah, we can't build any districts actually. So the tidally locked, great, and we don't have to worry about the blockers. Now building wise, we can still put up an Autochthon monument here. We can put up administrative offices and add bureaucracy to this world. Habitability is boosted to 100% for being a resort world, so we don't have to worry about habitability on this planet. If we need more housing, we are going to have to build the luxury residences or the sky domes or such. We've only got one job here right now. Let's build an Autochthon monument. And then the next thing we will end up building is a luxury residence to have room for them. But yeah, when I upgrade this, I'll have all the building slots. But yeah, it's now a resort administration. Provides an entertainer and a politician. And we get clerk jobs per pops on this world automatically. Now, it doesn't matter if a whole bunch of people are unemployed here. That's not going to be a tremendous issue because I'm already at the point where unemployment doesn't cause unhappiness and actually generates things like unity. I think we are going to put missile batteries on here. It's about 2 more months before we get cheaper upgrades and stuff on our star bases.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Corps of Engineers. The creation of dedicated Naval Engineering Corps will greatly benefit the construction of deep space defense platforms, decreasing building cost and increasing durability. Deep space defense platforms, it's affecting star bases, not platforms. We can get our final L-gate insight. Or we could go ahead and knock out the Ripper autocannons. Let's go ahead and get this final L-gate insight just to get it off the things. We won't get any further L-gate insights because we will be completed with that. It'll take about a year. Now, I kind of understand why they made the newer megastructures, the orbital ring and the hyper relay, all cost influence and why they originally made the habitat cost influence.
Ship upgrades applied.
It was so you had an outlet for influence after a certain point in the game. Because they felt that unless you were doing a real aggressive play style and constantly doing claims, you didn't really have an outlet for the influence. However, you do have an outlet for the influence since they changed espionage costs to influence. And you do have decisions like the mastery of nature. I don't mind the gateways and the hyper relays costing influence. But I think it costing influence for habitats is a little bit severe because it doesn't cost influence to do colony ships. And if you are void dwellers, the only way you have to expand is to build habitats. Which means you're spending influence not only to claim more systems, but to build your colonies. Which are very limited in size anyway. Okay, that patrol fleet has been fully upgraded. We have a new resolution. Repeal military readiness. It is the League of Phemisto that wants it repealed. Federations and defensive pacts are where military matters should be discussed, not on the Senate floor. I disagree. You're only wanting it changed because you are in violation of it.
Construction completed.
And I keep forgetting to... oh no, that was an upgrade to Citadel that these things got. Alright, Limsa. We've got gun batteries. We need missile batteries now. Kazoo, I could go ahead and put the... Hyperlane Registrar on here just to be collecting from Lawam for now. And then worry about the guns. I've got the time before all my fleets converge here. Where is 2nd Fleet right now? It's still over a year away, yes. And I'm still over a year away from having all the influence I need to get my first mercenary company. We have now begun the massive undertaking of constructing a science nexus. The foundation is in place and preparations are underway to add the main hub. The promise of new groundbreaking technologies and the realization of ideas beyond our wildest imaginations await. And though the road ahead is long and full of challenges, we have taken the first step. Could the endless mysteries of the universe finally be within our grasp? Alright, so I can relocate this constructor back to Korriban, where I had moved a constructor from. And I believe, yes I do, I have, no, I need 15,000. I am just like 2 months away from being able to start this thing upgrading. Currently it is producing nothing. The initial site will serve as a base for future construction of a science nexus. Once I get it upgraded again, which takes 2250 days. Let's see. 1800 days is 5 years. That's about 6 years. That's a little over 6 years, actually. 6 years would be 2160. So that's 6 years and 3 months. After I start this, it will actually start having an effect. Which reminds me, I didn't think I read the description of this base. Construction station serves as the base for the future assembly of a sentry array. So yeah, we're still a little over a year, about a year and a half away from our sentry array site finally coming online. Which reminds me, we don't actually need listening posts, honestly. Once we get that sentry array up and running. Now, I should have actually started doing some... Since I'm working on an L-Gate Insight, this is the perfect time for me to retrofit some species. Let's start with the technicians, because I have the most of them. Let's apply this to all the technicians.
Situation log has been updated.
It's going to take a little over a year. That's fine. After I get that knocked out, I can do the miners and then the harvesters. And then we should have just about, I think that would be all of them that have been, needed to be upgraded. The Blizzard robots I haven't really modified. Let's actually check and see if I want to do anything with them. Well, I'm not really going to make any more, so having pop assembly speed and luxurious really doesn't matter much. I mean, I could get rid of that, but then, yeah, there's no real point in retrofitting these guys. Oh, and I wasn't done with what I was doing, which was checking. Alright, yeah, we've completely upgraded these guys, so I can actually delete the template. I wish it wouldn't jump you all the way to the top. We do have to do the workers as well. So yeah, we have the harvesters, miners, technicians, and workers to retrofit. The only one we really did was the synthetic performers. The gateway is almost constructed, the first one I started on. Other one's only about halfway done. Before we proceed onward here, we are going to start our upgrade of the Science Nexus site. Equipped with a state-of-the-art singularity reactor, the central core will cover most of the Nexus's energy needs. It will also connect the future research facilities. And I don't believe I read the one for this one. It's gone now, though, because I already clicked on it. But we are now going to proceed onward. How far out is 2nd Fleet? There's 3rd and 4th. Still a year out. I know what I was supposed to be making here instead of missile batteries. I was supposed to be throwing a few shipyards on here so that I could refit ships that were over here and repair a little faster. Now we do have a slight drain of exotic gases. That is because I have a exotic gas facility that has no workers in it right now.
Ship upgrades applied.
My little starbase fleets, I was upgrading the ones that I saw the marks for on this one.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Command matrix. Restructuring the chain of command and deciding what interdependencies are set between officers makes fleets more responsive and effective. Galactic Stock Exchange. I believe that has to be on your capital. So there was another building I'm going to need on my capital, probably. I'll have to check that. Let's go ahead and get this knocked out. That will remove one from the list, and I do have Zero I can actually exploit here in Delta Pavonis. That's 8 months. Let's go ahead and get one of these ships. Why do I have 2 ships in here? Oh, that guy's set up to do the gateway when I get back to doing them. Let's move this guy to Delta Pavonis. Now, one thing, if you build a habitat over Zro or living metal or dark matter, you don't have to build a building to exploit that resource. The habitat itself serves just like a mining station would to exploit it. You know, maybe I should have moved the transport fleet over this way just in case. I'm not going to wait on them. As soon as second fleet gets here, we're probably going to go. The deep space construction site for the planned gateway in the Sol system is now in place. Once we have the necessary resources, construction of the actual gateway may commence at any time. Now you can go back to being in orbit of a planet that I am going to do a habitat over. It's either reactors. Let's actually go over Jupiter so we can build another refinery here at Earth. Because that would be a research habitat. That would be a reactor habitat. Saturn is also a good one. Mercury would be a reactor. Oh, Venus would also be a good one. As a matter of fact, let's go over Venus first. But we are going to need a mining habitat before we add more, because we need to get our minerals up more. Now, that gateway site. A conduit through the very fabric of subspace that enables rapid travel to other gateways. It'll take about 3 years. Let's go ahead and see. We're getting close to our cap on energy credits anyway. Let's just buy a chunk of alloys to get our energy credits back down. And I have you selected. There we go. Get our first gateway up and running. This one's about halfway done. Got a favor with a Hussar.
Ship upgrades applied.
Did not take long to fully upgrade all of those starbase fleets. Tesnid refugees from the Hithian have arrived on Mars. Oh, look at that devastation on that planet. Ouch. Alright, let's check out Mars. And check out these new refugees we just got. I do need to build another building now. Let's do another generator district. Ah, yeah, we've had the Tesnid before. They are ingenious, so they are good at energy credits. Commonwealth of Man has stopped guaranteeing the independence of Alvathari. Where is that battleship going? Looks like it lost its leader. Or no, it doesn't have one. They're oh yeah, they're all reinforcing to the Palisade Armada fleet, I think. Yeah, they're part of the Palisade Armada, which is probably a mercenary company around here somewhere. Let's see if I can spot on this map where they might be. Nope. I don't see. There it is. Yeah, that's the icon I was looking for. Early space station. What the hell? That isn't right. Yeah, that should be it, I would think. But that's an early space station from a species that was... what is the word I'm looking for? Species that was invaded. Yeah, I'm not seeing their mercenary company station around here, unless that is it. So I'm going to see if I can get another Ministry of Culture. Alright, we got another Ministry of Culture. At least it says we've unlocked one. We'll also get another art piece. Because here on Baffin, I want to see if I can build another Ministry of Culture. So I just paid $2,000 for a Ministry of Culture and cannot build another one. It's a little disappointing. It's still got that thing where it doesn't give me the item back. Now we could put a art monument here on this resort world, but we don't really need to. What we need is art monuments on these worlds. This one has one. Both of them do. Let's put one on Spring. But yeah, unfortunately we don't actually get that. You can only get the one Ministry of Culture, it appears. So that means Baffin is going to need something else here for jobs. And what do I want to do here? I think I will put some administrative offices here. More unity won't hurt, because after we finish all of our traditions, we are still going to need unity for upgrading all of our colonies. And it costs quite a bit, as you see. So my experiment was a success. My technician did push out somebody who is doing this job worse than him. Now that they are synthetics, I can proceed to push out these other people and get this job completely filled with technicians. However, there is a problem. If any of my technicians promote upwards, they'll generally migrate off-world before they demote, unless I go through the... Well, I am going through Harmony next, so the quicker demotion is one that I will be shooting for. Still about 7 months before Second Fleet is in place. Then I will be able to yank some admirals out and proceed with the war. Alright, picking up our final tradition, and we are going with Harmony. Few things can match the strength of a content populace working toward a common goal. Getting this entire thing will reduce our empire size from pops. This improves leader lifespan and cap. This is the one that reduces how long it takes to demote. We get the Edict Fund bonus, governing ethics attraction, and stability on all our planets. And that will give us the last Ascension perk we will be able to get through traditions, which of course should be Xeno compatibility. And it'll be just a little, about 2.5 years before we get the demotion increase. Well, while we're waiting, we might as well tell our fleets here to go ahead and upgrade now that we have shipyards here. And we're about 3 months away from having what we need to create our mercenary fleet. So let's just go ahead and tell them to move to Gossick. Take about 6 months to get them in position.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Zro distillation. An extremely rare aerosol of exotic particles, it has been deposited on a number of worlds through meteor impacts, but its true origin is a mystery. If ingested by psionically gifted individuals, Zro acts as a very potent and addictive drug that enhances psi abilities. I believe that is the exact same dialogue you get when you first discover Zro. Yeah, if you highlight over Zro, it gives you the exact same dialogue. Alright. Let's get Galactic Campaigns, just to knock it out. Now I can tell you to build the mining station and then return to Yilon. Hithian entered into a commercial pact with the League of Brienne States. Tell you what, we'll just go ahead and tell you to upgrade. When you finish upgrading, then I know it is time to move. The Zufvan Ancients declared war on the Tezekian Hive. It is a punitive expedition. Basically, they're going to put them in their place. And just about every month, that clicks on and back off.
Ship upgrades applied.
First Fleet is finally fully upgraded. Alright, the gateway site in Almac is in place. Have I told you already to go back to your... No, I haven't. So go back to orbit of that one. We'll get that one underway. As soon as those two gateways are completed, then we have a quick path down to Almac, which will make it a lot easier for these fleets, once they're retrofitted, to get down here to destroy the lavish freebooters. 3 months until I can finally get this mercenary company just built. Established.
Construction completed.
Got my mining station completed there. Finally got that Zro.
The special project has concluded.
Alright, we've finally gotten one of our species changed over. The one that's going to take the longest because it had the most. Let's get our miners applied.
Situation log has been updated.
It'll take 8 months. And then we've got the harvesters and the workers, and we're done with them. Which reminds me, now that I have gotten rid of the first tier, I can actually delete that template.
Ship upgrades applied.
Third Fleet is upgraded. Alright, let's go ahead and establish or convert this into a mercenary enclave. It's a deal. Manticore's Defenders. Welcome! Manticore's Defenders offer state-of-the-art security services to our customers. We have civil contracts across multiple worlds, ranging from personal security details to training drills for enforcers. But for our high-profile clients, we aim to provide the best of the best. Fleets, armies, military advisors. A range of peacekeeping options is available, for a modest fee, of course. So we could rent the fleet. We could hire ground troops. They could increase my naval capacity. And as our patron, we want to review our options. Esteemed patron, what business brings you to us today? Have you seen our latest ship schematics? They will be the core of our new personal security offer for civilian customers. So we can help them build a bigger fleet, and we can share our technology. Right now, their technology and ours are the same. It's not until we get more technological advances we would have to worry about that. If we want to help them build a bigger fleet, it only costs money and alloys. With these funds, we could greatly expand our operation, more ships, more personnel, bigger and better training facilities. We would be able to do so much more to help keep the peace. So we'll do that. And we have to wait a full year before we can upgrade their fleet again. Now that did drop our, see, what logistical solutions can you offer? 5,000 energy credits for 15% naval capacity for 10 years. Alright, so they are no longer our fleet. And I never got around to changing the name of them, by the way. So that's their name, is the Friaka Ovatelis Patrol, until it changes their name for them. But yeah, that's what it puts up, is the Breakneck Ridge is their enclave. So yeah, it should be an enclave, not a military base. Palisade Armada, that's what I was looking for over here. So yeah, that is a leftover military station from a planet that they invaded.
Construction completed.
The Hithian have made peace with the Prime Awareness, status quo, without border adjustment. Now that's a little bit inaccurate when you're up against a Gestalt empire, because any system you control, instead of it you actually controlling it, you actually conquer it right then and there without needing influence. So some systems probably did change hands. That's why the Hithians are up here right now, I guess. Yeah, the Hithians were bigger. So they lost all of this territory to the Prime Awareness, even though it claims it was a status quo. Fire Tribe Jakel wishes to vassalize the Gronshu. No. You know, I was just looking at the policies, and I wonder if I switch from research debris to scavenge debris, would it make debris appear for pirates and people who are technologically inferior to me? I am getting quite a bit of research now. I do want to keep it still on research debris, I think, for now. But I will be switching to scavenge debris later on and testing that. We're in a new election cycle. Current president is fairly old now, but still the leading candidate. And I believe we quite completed the energy infrastructure. Yeah, by a long shot. But, you know, 1,000 influence, that's less than I get in like a week now. Fourth Fleet and Second Fleet still need to upgrade. Hithian are in a defensive pact with Tilinesti. League of Themisto is in a defensive pact with the Hithians.
Ship upgrades applied.
4th Fleet is done. That just leaves 2nd Fleet. Giranshu is in non-aggression with the Hithians. The hub of the Sentry Array is a state-of-the-art installation on its own right, half listening post and half space telescope. However, it marks but the first milestone in this great undertaking. Now the next stage requires 10,000 more alloys. That also boosts our base intel level on everyone.
Ship upgrades applied.
Alright, our fleets are all upgraded now. Time to add some leaders. Let's give 2nd Fleet... Yeah, let's get Admiral Zazzle over here to help out. Now let's see, who else do we have? Do they all have leaders? 1st Fleet needs a leader. Evasion and sublight speed. Yeah, we'll grab the other mercenary. And I think 3rd Fleet is the only other one that needs one. We'll give Rukon Underos there. So now that these fleets are prepared, we're going to take all 4 fleets and go. I gotta progress a day, don't I? Yes. Alright, it's going to be about 2 months before we get through there to where that is. Probably be just a little over a month before we start warping in and enter combat. Oh yeah, we've got a tremendous amount of fleet power now. That's almost 100k.
Research concluded.
As per our President's mandates, our planetary districts have expanded. We re-elected Jag Noksheen. Our new mandate, aggressive agriculture, wants us to build 2 additional agriculture districts. Matter decompressor. The matter decompressor lenses a black hole's gravity, forming a drill of gravitational forces to retrieve minerals from the singularity. Let's go ahead and get the Dyson Sphere. That'll only take 2 years. We won't have... Yeah, well, it's a locked technology. We can worry about that a little later. I think we should probably get some upgrades like the particle lance or the neutron launchers. Or better yet, yeah, let's go ahead and upgrade the gamma lasers. That'll be give us the best lasers. We'll start getting some upgrades for weapons. Galactic campaigns, further improvements to administration, grant an extended power projection across the stars, and the military clout needed to enhance our demands. We get the Strategic Coordination Center. Okay, the Interstellar Assembly is the one I want. I do have a statecraft person. This one, the Interstellar Assembly, gives me more envoys. Now let's put our statecraft person back in here. It was 35 months. Now what is it? Still 35 months, but we'll leave the statecraft person in there. Put the higher level person back assisting research. And I have enough influence to continue extending our network. Let's do Yilon Station. Have the Sahara. Oh, I'm short 5 rare crystals. You know what? Let's buy 500 of them so I don't have to worry about this shortage anytime soon. We're going to build a hyper relay network here, and after that we are going to go to Plessis there for our next hyper relay. And we are going to continue down this way until we get to Almac. It's unfortunate that the Ahab charged in by himself.
Engaging hostile station.
Reinforcements are going to be a little bit behind. I should have had the Ahab follow a slower ship. Yeah, the Ahab ran away. He didn't do squat. He did some damage to hull. Only 27 points. Most of my fleets have not finished porting in. Only one is. This is unfortunate. There we go. Now we're coming in. Have a timed project. That is probably salvage, I would suspect. Yeah, debris here. Ripper autocannon, regenerative hull tissue. Alright, we have decimated the Marauders there. This system is considered fully surveyed. We do have a science ship here that can research the projects in the system and then return to assist research. Yeah, we have 4 debris in this area. Of course, they all... Okay, kinetic battery is one of them there. But yeah, that means we should get regenerative hull tissue and the Ripper autocannon. I might swap to salvaging debris if I get all those techs from them. But now that we have completed that... Let's go back here for repairs. And it looks like I also need to reinforce these fleets. However, we are doing technological upgrades, so I will hold off on that. Yeah, we lost 3rd Fleet. Lost corvettes, destroyers, and cruisers. We lost another destroyer there. So we lost 3 destroyers, 2 corvettes, and 1 cruiser. We decimated quite a few of theirs. Took out a galleon and their void dwellings. We only took out about a quarter of their fleet. The rest will have ported away to reinforce back here. That one's going to be a little bit tough. But okay, we need 50 50 more influence to claim this system, and then we want to claim Succubus Ball, and that will finally get an L gate in our territory. So we're going to have them move there for now. The Ahab needs to repair. But overall, I believe the fight was quite successful. We have knocked them down one system. This is their prime system. It's going to be the hardest to actually overtake. This one, after we get that one, this one will be fairly easy. So this is going to take a little bit of effort getting through there. But we now have access to 2 more systems and finally getting an L gate in our territory. Trick has finally passed away at the age of 95. See, we have a biologist. Oh, spark of genius. Actually, I need a higher level researcher at these places. I can swap him out for a lower level someplace else. Higher level someplace else. Who's at Earth? Yeah, there's a level 3 there. See, my highest level is at Lawam, researching something right now. The Asimov is in Xeris. Yeah, let's take the one out of the Asimov. And before we put this guy in there... No, don't want to replace anybody currently in there. So we will stick this guy in the Asimov to gain some XP.
The special project has concluded.
Alright, we've modified all of our miners. So now let us modify our harvesters. Six months. And that will just leave the workers after that, which should be fairly quick. There we go. About 2 years away from a level. It'll be next episode before we get our next level, which will allow us to alter some laws. We'll be able to go up to medium centralization. Of course, that will drop the cohesion gain another point. That means we could actually start having a Federation fleet at that point. But my first act will be to do free migration. That will cut down on some of my influence per month for the migration treaties between us. Got to be high to make invite president's choice. And we have a favor with the Commonwealth of Man. Zakplot Vestige declared war on Awoken. I knew it was going to happen eventually. Awoken buffer zone creation. They are about to destroy the Awoken. Yep, it's unfortunate that they picked a system adjacent to the Zach plot vestige. Why is the Ahab following the UNS Pacific when I told it to dock at the starbase? Stupid. Got us a favor with the Granchu. Ultinia just finished producing an SPO2. Now, of course, clerk jobs were available, so they immediately went to clerk. However, they would be more efficient up here than anybody else up here. So what you can do to get them up here is close out the jobs and then reopen them, and it should pull them up. There we go. It has pulled them up. Now, these guys are charismatic, so I can't push them out with my robots because we do the same amenities. Even though I do better Unity, it won't push these guys out. So any further SPO2s I build will go into the culture worker slots and move them. So now I have an unemployed harvester. It says he's going to migrate to spring. I hope he doesn't. There's nothing for him to do at spring. I hope he ends up demoting back down here to do the farming job he's supposed to be freaking doing. And I'm going to have the same problem with these technicians. They may migrate off to a random world before they demote. So hopefully I can get a new Ascension perk fairly soon so that they demote faster. The Commonwealth of Man embraced the Alien Awareness Committee and became more xenophilic. What has that done to their empire? They're still honor-bound warriors. They're still a dictatorship. Third Fleet is now fully repaired. First Fleet and Fourth Fleet.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
Gamma lasers. The electromagnetic radiation emitted by gamma lasers is an extremely high frequency. Their destructive potential is unmatched in the field of laser weapons. Let's get the advanced shields. We'll go ahead and knock out a whole bunch of upgrades before we upgrade our ships. Zach plot vestige made peace with the Awoken. Does the Awoken still exist? They do. I could offer them a migration treaty, but they're going to be robots. I don't want another group of robots coming into my empire right now. Humiliated, reducing the empire's influence gain and pop happiness for 10 years. Awoken is forced to revoke all their claims. So it didn't destroy them, but they're going to keep humiliating them until they get away from this border zone, basically. Ahab is fully repaired. We're just about done with our first debris.
Interstellar debris analyzed.
10% Ripper autocannon progress, 10% hull tissue, and a small amount of stored research for other areas. Let's have a look at the Ripper now. Okay, we still got a ways to go before we actually get it. So what we're going to do is hopefully by the time we finish all of the debris will be really close, if not there.
The special project has concluded.
Alright, we've completed the harvesters and gotten a favor with the Darblins. I believe that leaves only one of our robot species to upgrade, and that is the workers. For some reason, we still have a harvester. He must have shifted from one world to another. We are going to turn him into a worker. That must be one that migrated off-world just as the modification was being done. Now this will only take 1 month, and then we will be done with all of our robotic upgrades. We can't delete this one yet because there is still one harvester that was in transit between worlds. It appears our president died in office, unfortunately. So our mandate remains unfulfilled. New election has begun. We currently do not have a leader for this faction, but if we progress for a day, it will pick a leader. Governor Waddugs. Who is our primary candidate and has the same mandate. I knew Jag Naksheen could not live forever.
The special project has concluded.
There, we're finally done with all of our upgrades. Let's go to the species tab real quick and see if we can remove this one. Yes. And we should be able to remove the original workers. Now we can go back to our technology. So in 8 months we will have that. In 1 month we'll have the shields. We gained a favor with the Ubarak and the Awoken.
Interstellar debris analyzed. Construction completed.
Hazar Commonwealth wants to declare war against the Verzak again to conquer them. No, we are not doing conquest. Now, if you keep rejecting these often enough, you will drop their opinion enough that they will want to leave. However, Hazar are my vassal. They can't leave. So, it's the Kel we need to worry about. Yeah, we've declined a war. It's a huge negative modifier. Alright, so we got progress on 3 things for that one. Stellaris is the one at the wormhole, I believe. Yes. So let's go ahead and put some gun batteries on here.
Knowledge is the key to the universe.
We're just a month or 2 away from being able to claim Kochab. Advanced shields. An updated shield generator that produces an even stronger energy field. Only sustained enemy fire can penetrate this barrier. Well, we can go ahead and go for the next shields. We get jump drives. Nobody else has jump drives. We'll go for that component. Because any of these others would take a while as well. Well, that would be done in about 10 months. These would be the level 4 or 5 shields. We'll go ahead and go for jump drives while we've got Zarg in here. Wadogs has been elected president. See the situation log for their mandate. Previously governor of Ponel. He has Corvette focus and logistical understanding. Okay, yeah, so we have a military bent one here. Good. That is kind of what I'm doing. And of course wanted aggressive agriculture. I do need a new governor for the Ponel system. That has Blizzard, which is research and mining. So let us find a new governor. Agrarian upbringing, minerals from jobs, being a cyborg. Ponel was also my retired admiral. I think we will go with the 5% extra minerals from jobs more than the agrarian upbringing. We don't really need the food bonus. And next month, we will be able to start building this outpost. Oh, and we do have enough alloys. We'll get enough next month to go ahead and start on the next upgrade of the Sentry Hub. The Sentry Spire. Oscillating fins arranged along a central spire isolate faint signals from ever-pervasive background radiation. State-of-the-art listening post crewed by a permanent staff of astronomers and tactical analysts. Got a favor with the Commonwealth of Man. And actually see about starting, since we're getting so many favors, we're probably close to cap with a few of them. We can probably start trading favors for resources. I wish you could trade them for influence.
Interstellar debris analyzed.
Got another favor with the Pirac. Now let's have a quick look at Ripper autocannons. Almost there. Alright, this just is offering regenerative hull tissue. That is the final debris to analyze here. It'll be a while before we get jump drives. So we're going to go ahead and start upgrading our fleets. We're going to start with the one that needs to be reinforced. And there was another fleet, yeah, fourth fleet. We'll start with the two that need to be reinforced so we can reinforce them. And you know, I forgot to check our mercenary company here and see if we could help them field a bigger fleet. Nope, we need 1250 alloys to be able to do that. Now we could do it. Alright, let's see if, yeah, we can't do it again for another year. I don't know how many times I can enhance it. Maybe just 3?
Construction completed.
Alright, we have this star base finally. Let's build the research stations and move to Succubus's ball. And we want to build up our influence back to 67 to be able to claim that system.
Construction completed.
Alright, we need to renew our pledge here, even though they haven't been really giving us newsletters for a long time. I was checking to see if any of these had terraforming candidates. And it appears not. The workers thing has passed. Charter for Workers' Rights. We need to renew the Conglomerated Scrappers Agreement. And there was one other thing I needed to renew here. Oh yes, my relics. I need to reverse engineer arcane technology. These artifacts can be used as the core for a powerful building that rivals that a fallen empire could create. You now have the ability to build a class 4 singularity on one of our planets. And let's go ahead and see about opening a another reliquary. Okay, look, we get it. You love reliquaries. While we generally limit the amount sold to a single customer, we can make an exception for you. From now on, enjoy the privilege of purchasing reliquaries directly with a nominal increase in energy credits each time. So that means we no longer need caravan coins. We've got 24,000 of them. But yeah, they really like me coming every now and then to do the reliquaries, I guess. Actually, let's play the slots a little bit and see what we can get. Got 500 caravan coins. Nothing. 1,000 energy credits. Nothing. And 500 more coins. Now, is there anything else I need to do before we call this an episode? I think we're good. Yeah, we've made some pretty good progress. We've taken out one of their systems. Now, what do they have here? They have a buttload here. They have 30, 54. They have about 70k in fleets, including the Uthabulan Braves there. Because they have, with this one, that's about 57. All right, the 57 and the 73 would be 13k. Then they have 36k there, so that, yeah, that'd be about 50k right there. 66k is what they have in fleets. And then, of course, they have a whole bunch of 4.9 stations here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. They also have some asteroid bases. Looks like 6 of them. So that's another 30k. So that would make it 90, and 6 of them is another 12. That'd make it a little over 100k fleet power they have in this sector. Of course, we don't face it all at once. When we first come in, we will start hitting a lot of the ones on this side and wipe them out before all these others get involved. So yeah. Oh, and I also forgot they have a 6.4K in the center. So yeah, they have about 110K in fleet power there. I have about 80K of fleet power right here. So it is going to be ugly just using these fleets. I'll probably have to do a hit and run tactic and come in and decimate quite a few of them and then leave the system to repair. And then come back in and repeat the process. But once we get their core system destroyed, not only will we have access to a new colony, that is the toughest system we will face. This one is about the same as the system we faced over there. Actually, it's a little weaker. No, it's about the same. Yeah, it's about the same as the first system, Kochab, that we dealt with. And when we finally get that last system, the Uthabulan Braves will be no more. Then we can get to work on tearing up these guys. And of course, this is the entry system. That's probably the core system, and that's the FAR system. After we get the entry system done, we would be able to shoot over here and finally survey that system. We might bypass their core system and go after this other system first, so that we can go ahead and start exploring this area while we're repairing and building up to go take out that one. As for, I don't think we have line of sight on these guys to be able to see their fleet power. Plus they're in a damn nebula. Yeah. Most of their systems are in the frickin' nebula. But yeah, I would like to deal with them to kind of help out the Awoken. And also give Hazar room to expand this way. And after we get rid of the Zakplot vestige, that is another threat in the galaxy. Now, I don't believe there can be a war in heaven at this point, because we have xenophobes, and the other one I believe was materialist. No, xenophiles. We do have the two opposing factions. There is the potential for a war in heaven, so we could just hold off on dealing with the... well, they actually do kind of look like shadows, don't they? Dealing with the shadows right now. Plus, I don't think we're anywhere near where we need to be able to take on them. I'd like to have all of the upgrades pretty much done for weapons before I go to take on a fallen empire. Plus, they're going to have colossi, which are freaking brutal. I don't even have titans yet. I believe after we get the Uthabulan Braves and then deal with the Lavis freebooters, we're pretty much safe from raids from down here at that point. I don't think these guys are going to be sending raids our way, the Molanok Corsairs. We can ignore them for now. What the hell is this? Somebody has already taken out one of the Corsairs' territory, it appears. Yeah. So it looks like the citizen state of Azuk, or the League of Brian States, is dealing with the Corsairs up here. Yeah, this is no longer listed as a restricted system. As a matter of fact, let's go ahead and unrestrict this one. So yeah, since I don't really have to worry about them, I think my next objective after this is going to be the Enigmatic Fortress. After we deal with it, I will probably see about dealing with Well, no, I think the psionic entity has been taken care of. Let's mark that as no longer restricted. Yeah, it looks like Great Wound has also been cleaned out. Because it is part of the Sonderthan now. But it has been another 5 years, so we shall call this an episode. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time.